Hello, fabulous friends and fans. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of December 21st, 2014. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. What a wonderful week we have, and an important week as well. Big things are happening in the sky, really big, bold, beautiful things, setting us up really nicely for all the wonderful things that happen around this time of year that I personally love. First and foremost, of course, the winter solstice. So right out of the gate this week, it is a winter solstice, and really the winter solstice point is that moment when the sun crosses the cardinal line into the sign of Capricorn. So it's solstice day. Yes, it's from this day forward, we will have more and more light in the northern hemisphere. And that is very representative of increasing light in our own lives, a feeling of lightness, of illumination, of clarity as well. Now, what's really special about what's happening at the winter solstice is happening in such a short span of time. Really, on the 21st, within a 3-hour span, big moves are happening, celestially speaking. So first, we have Uranus standing still in the sky and changing directions, going direct. After months of being retrograde, months of traveling backwards in the sky, Uranus is now gearing up to go forward. This is a huge shift for all of us. This is a time of awakening, a time of revelation, a time of rebellion in a sense as well. This is being truly honest to ourselves, admitting the truth and saying, you know what, this is my truth and I'm going forward from here. This is where I start and here I go. And this is the action I take in support of what I know to be true. So it's truly a powerful moment for us collectively, but not only that, individually as well, of course. Somewhere, wherever it is that you've been desiring change, you've been desiring a breakthrough, this is a very strong omen that the universe would support that. But then what we have happening is the sun moves, crosses the cardinal point, moves into the sign of Capricorn. As I said, this is the winter solstice moment. So to have one of these is a big deal. To have two of these taking place on the same time, really, celestially speaking, 3 hours is really, it might as well be happening in the same second. And so we have the sun crossing the cardinal point, a beginning of a season, the beginning of growing light. And then we have a new moon taking place in the sign of Capricorn. Just minutes, literally, for astrology students out there, each sign is divided into 30 degrees, and that's 30 days. The sun goes through each sign 30 days. But then each degree is divided into 60 minutes. And literally, the sun is just a few minutes, celestial calculation speaking, a few minutes into the sign of Capricorn, and we have a new moon taking place. Big beginnings, really important time for all of us. We are planting some really powerful seeds that are based in some true understanding of who we are and what we need and how it is now that we are going to move forward. And in some cases, it may shock others around us, but I actually think that a lot of the changes that are going to happen now for a lot of us are a long time coming. But of course, that's not the only big thing that we're having this week. Also, we are having, just a couple of days later, Saturn, the big news. If I knew how to play a trumpet and I had it with me, I would play the trumpet right about now to announce that Saturn will be moving into the sign of Sagittarius. Now, over the course of the summer, Saturn will dip back into the sign of Scorpio before leaving for good, not to return for over 2 decades. So this really is such an important moment for us collectively, yes, and individually as well. And of course, I spoke at length. I have the Saturn specials out there. Really, it was a lot of you out there messaging me, a whole lot. I'm so grateful for it, asking me to post them, asking me to do them, encouraging me on. And so those are posted. Those have been posted for a little while now. And so please do have a look, Saturn special for your sign. But also I recorded a video where I just talk about the collective and what I see coming up for all of us as a collective in our world and what we're meant to learn and how we're meant to grow as Saturn moves into a new sign. So that is coming up. This is really a major shift for all of us, where we start to change where it is individually, where it is that we know we have work to do, the path that we know we need to walk if we're going to gain a measure of self-respect. That is what shows up now, and that path is going to change for all of us in our own unique way. Now we progress a little bit further into the week, and we have happening, depending on where you are on the planet, so right around the holidays, we have Mercury activating the Uranus-Pluto square that I've been talking to you guys a lot about. Actually, since 2012, I've been talking to you guys about this. So we have, again, depending on where you are, roughly speaking, the 24th, Mercury will square Uranus, will speak with Uranus. On the 25th, Mercury will meet Pluto in the sky, will be right next to Pluto in the sky, what astrologers call a conjunction. And the following day, we will have the Sun speaking in harmony with Neptune. Now, before I talk about Mercury and this adventurous things that he's doing, I want to say I love the fact that the Sun is speaking with Neptune, because to me, this is really understanding where inspiration is to be found, where wisdom is to be found, and going for it, moving towards it, making a choice to cultivate compassion and wisdom and awareness and connection to everyone and everything. So I love that that's happening, and that really is the energy that we want to emphasize right about now. And the main reason I say that is because Mercury meeting Pluto and squaring Uranus can be tough on its own. But then you add to this the fact that this is happening over the holidays, and the holidays are different things to different people. But it can mean time with family that you choose not to see so often for some people. And no one can quite push our buttons the way that family can push our buttons. And this to me says a few different things. It says, and I'll always be honest with you. And my hope is that by sharing this, we're well prepared and choose our intentions, because really that's the only thing that's required to negate anything that might not be so great about this energy. First being, this could just work out in a way where, somebody makes a joke and it's just not taken as a joke. Somebody overhears something and in the process ends up getting really hurt or having buttons pushed, and difficult conversations arising from what started out really light and wasn't intended to be. This is also like very subtle kind of verbal sort of power maneuvers happening as well. And it all might be sort of in the guise. It all might be in the guise of just a trick or just a joke, or being light and just taking it easy and just being relaxed. But the impact is not so. And so my hope with this is that this can also be used, this energy can ultimately, the higher end of this energy is transformation. Words having a great power to transform, and it's also detachment, interestingly. It is an ability to stand a little bit back from a situation and see the inner dynamic that's taking place. And I think you're going to find, if you go in with that intention to see what's really going on under the surface, you will find that a lot of times there is fear. Okay, that's really what it comes down to, is there's fear and people are acting from that place. I personally, I don't think that it's too often that people want to hurt other people, okay? And especially in families, but I think that sometimes people are not aware of how they're impacting others. And I think also a part of our own individual lessons might be to rise above and not allow that impact to happen as well. And personally, for what it's worth, I do also think, collectively speaking, I think that's why we've sort of moved into a place more and more where we have more and more stimulation coming our way from whatever, from media, from the internet, or whatever you want to call it, mainly it's because we as human beings, because everything in our external world is a reflection of what we believe about ourselves as humanity to be true. And so I love that we've manifested the internet. I think that this is a huge symbol that I'll delve into. I can talk about this for hours actually, but I love that we did this because it says something about how we understand our connection to everyone and everything. And at the same time, I think that it also speaks to our collective learning that we have to choose what stimuli is going to affect us, how we are going to be awakened, or our responses to whatever information is out there that sort of comes our way. So it's about us learning to focus our wise and spiritual energy and our attention more. So that is one of my beliefs, and I think that this speaks to this larger lesson that all of us are going to be going through in some respect. So it's not the easiest vibration, especially if you're triggered easily and especially around certain people. You decide what's right for you. Ultimately, self-care is number one. I do believe if you have the right measure of self-care, anything and everything becomes possible in the world, and you know what you need. And so trust yourself, trust your instincts to guide you where you need to go. And if your instincts say don't go there, then that's really okay. Don't go there. I think that you know what it is that you need, and I hope that you will listen to that voice within that is always guiding you towards what you need. And also, please, please be mindful of your words. At this time, be mindful of your words, and mainly in the respect that I'm very much of the belief that so many moments can transform us, absolutely. And yes, these moments that trigger us can end up being the impetus and the catalyst for amazing love, amazing wisdom, help us move in a very positive direction. But I also believe that love and acceptance do the same thing. Love and acceptance also are transformative energies that really can propel us and provide the catalyst to move in powerful new directions, in directions where we become more of an embodiment of love as well. So my hope is for everyone out there that that is the energy you choose now. That is the energy that you choose to give to others, but also the energy you choose to focus on as all this different information comes our way. Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful. And as I said, a very happy winter solstice. I do really love this time of year because I think we kind of remember that we are more than we give ourselves credit for. And that's what I really love about this time in part of the world. And what I also believe very much, I mean, I love to celebrate everything. I love to celebrate life. I love to celebrate everything. And I'm right there. Wherever there is a celebration in spirit with a pure heart, I love being there, and I love being a part of that energy. So that's also part of why I love this time of year as well. And so I'm wishing you a very happy solstice and a happy whatever religious holiday or faith-based holiday or historical holiday or cultural moment you celebrate at this time, which a lot of different, pretty much all over the world universally, the winter solstice is associated with love and healing and light. I wish you a very, very wonderful season, absolutely, and growing light and love in your life. I love my interactions with you. It has meant so much to me this year, and I thank you for it. Please do keep them coming. Facebook, Twitter, Google+, my website, nadiyashah.com, and of course the YouTube comments as well. I love reading you guys on here as well. If you have a more personal question, something that you want to ask me that is a little bit more related to your unique situation, please do consider a personalized horoscope where I can do just that. But of course, I hope that this moment right now provides you with the inspiration and the hope and whatever omen it is that you are meant to receive right now that helps you be aware of how your life is attempting to move you towards greater love and greater wisdom as well. So how all this wonderful stuff is speaking to you and your sign is coming up right now. Hello, fabulous Aries. This week we have Uranus in your sign, standing still, going direct right out of the gate. And what an important time it is for you. It really is as if some voice, some impetus within you that knows what you need to do to be absolutely true to who you are and to yourself, that part of you finally feels free to be in the world, finally feels like it can and you can move forward as a genuine expression of who you are. There is a sense now of you being in touch with what it means to be authentic, what it means to be genuine, and you really putting down a mask that you didn't even realize that you'd been wearing. Wherever it is in matters of identity and matters of heart that you have felt stuck, you have felt unable to move forward, this week will give you plenty of energy to do just that in a direction I think you'll like very much, because it's a direction based on self-knowledge, who you know yourself to be at your very best. Hello, fabulous Taurus. What an important week we have for you. This is a week when we have got this new moon and winter solstice taking place in a part of the sky for you that has to do with vision, and it has to do with stepping out into the world, owning an adventure and owning your enthusiasm. And this tends to be an omen for really being called to an adventure. This is a call to adventure. This is you coming to understand what you need to do now if you are going to manifest the things you really desire to experience further down the road. Now, this is the week you start putting things into place. This is the week you start understanding what direction you're meant to go in, what direction you desire to go in. And I think you're going to find that for a lot of Taurians out there, there's likely to be some moment of clarity, some understanding. Okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what I got to do. And then a few days later, if you share it a little bit too soon, you might be questioned a little bit too much, more than you're necessarily comfortable with. And there's really no need for you to do that. Share when you feel safe, okay? But also know that ultimately people will give you feedback based on who they are and their experiences. And that doesn't necessarily have to reflect on you and who you know yourself to be. And so ground yourself in an understanding that you know where it is that you most desire to go. And from there, you will be led to find the confidence to share in the right moment for you. Hello, fabulous Gemini. Well, this week your ruling planet will meet Pluto, will meet Uranus, or at least speak to Uranus rather, in the sky. What an important week it is for you. I do think that for some Geminis out there, there is likely to be some financial implication or financial change. Either a large investment, you hear something about it, or you're asked to make a large investment, or it's about receiving money as well. Now, do keep in mind with this, it represents the culmination, in one respect, the end of a situation that in turn allows you to begin again. And so it seems very intricately tied at this time. For some of you out there, this is going to be basically a financial gift might show up, but it seems like there might be some strings attached to it as well. And so you're going to have to decide if you're comfortable with accepting it, knowing what the broader implications are likely to be. And if you look very closely, whether it's the fine print of what document you're actually looking at, or the fine print of what it is that the giver is trying to say or what they're implying, I think you will see right to the root of the situation. You'll see what's really going on. And from there, you can decide if it's worth it to you. Hello, fabulous Cancer. Well, this week we have got a new moon happening in your opposite sign, along with lots of celestial activity that I spoke about in the introduction. So it does represent an important week for you in the context of love, in the context of partnership. Now, I have found when we have like this important celestial activity in your opposite sign, there pretty much is always someone there. There's someone there, whether it's symbolically, whether it's just online. There is someone who presents themselves to you to, at the very least, make you aware of where you are right now in your willingness to love and your openness to love. Those of you in established bonds, I mean, this is really truth time. And you are really going to have to watch your words and that you're communicating with absolute love, because this could be saying something and not realizing that it ends up pushing a button and ends up triggering the person that you care about. And so, of course, you don't want to do that. There are loving ways to say what you need to say, of course. So be mindful of that, because it seems that there's lots of different complications, power dynamics at play right now. And things can be taken in a way your partner might end up being a little bit overly sensitive. So be nice, affirm the commonality, as I like to say, and know that this ultimately is a week that is about the truth coming out. And it is about saying that thing that triggers the awareness, that brings forward a long needed conversation or clarity. And this could also be Freudian slips as well. So where it is that you haven't been completely honest, that's going to come forward. Where it is that you haven't wanted to admit the honesty of where you're at in love, that is likely to come forward as well. And all of it is very needed. All of it is needed to help move you towards greater love and, of course, greater wisdom as well. Hello, fabulous Leo. Well, this week we've got lots of adventures happening in the sky, yes. But what we also have happening, which I think is so great, is the fact that your ruling luminary, the sun, will be speaking in harmony with Neptune. I find this so uplifting, so intriguing, so encouraging, because it suggests to me that even though there's other stuff that looks like it might be a little bit tough, there is still all this other stuff that says, you know what, we can choose to be amazing and compassionate and inspired and artistic and creative and all the best that it means to be a human being, knowing that there is some spirit that infuses everyone and everything. And this reaches right to the heart of you, right to the spirit of you as well, and right to the way that you live on a day-to-day basis as well. So there is that, that encouragement, that hope, that promise now that you can certainly connect to an understanding of what's really going on, the underlying, not just underlying dynamics or power dynamics, but the underlying spiritual truth about where people are right now. And from there, you're able to really transform just about any situation, working magic all around you. Hello, fabulous Virgo. This week we have your ruling planet, Mercury, meeting Pluto in the sky, speaking with Uranus. And all of this happening in a part of the sky for you that ultimately is a really harmonious placement. It has to do with love, yes, the feelings that love can provide. It has to do with attraction. It has to do with creativity and happiness and an awareness of your happiness. You are determined to have fun, okay? That's really, I'm seeing that really played out in a very big way. You want to enjoy yourself. You want to have fun this week. You certainly can. But be mindful that it is in that process that actually some very sensitive feelings might come out. People might end up saying things. This is also a time when, if there's been any like sort of hurt feelings, especially with somebody that you love, somebody that you're dating, if that applies, those are likely to come to the surface now. You can have a really amazing heart-to-heart now that just transforms everything and provides an amazing catalyst towards a much better and healthier relationship as well. And that happens solely by your intention. If you just let things fall where they may, then you might find people around you, especially someone that you're getting to know, acting a little bit like a victim, and you really don't want to go there. Rather, what you want to do is you want to be a force of joy and transformation. In the process of having fun, you could find yourself getting powerfully in touch with who it is that you are and what it is that you absolutely need on a fundamental level to move your life in a positive direction. And that in turn will ensure, that awareness ensures that you move in that direction as well. So some of you are likely to have this conversation with someone that you're dating. Others may have these types of interactions, conversations with one of your children. This is a time to be kind, to be loving, to be patient, and to listen and to share as well. And from that space, so much love becomes possible. Hello, fabulous Libra. This week we have so much activity happening for you in the part of the sky that has to do with home and your foundations. And so it does look like the universe might ask you to go home. You may be asked to actually be in your home space, and it looks like a bit of a mixed bag for some Libras out there. And so when I look at the sky, I think that you may find it useful to consider that a couple of things. One is, as I said in the introduction, you know what works for you and what doesn't. Be in touch with your own sensitivity. See where you are, because I know that this is a time when people might feel that they have to interact with family, but it is those types of conversations that can really go either way. those types of interactions that can absolutely elevate you, where you see things in a very different way and you realize how people have tried to go and receive, have tried to experience love in their own kind of mixed up and convoluted ways sometimes. And that allows you to have so much more compassion. But at the same time, this can also be a time that might, based on your history, okay, so your life will tell you, if you know that you're going to be around people who push your buttons in ways that are very uncomfortable for you, then it's okay to acknowledge that. And what I would also suggest, looking at the sky, I would suggest that there is some value now in considering going with a friend, okay? Because it does look like that strategy actually could end up helping you tremendously, just going with a friend, if you know that you need that support, and they will remind you of the higher wisdom at play. You know, someone who's really good with the spiritual stuff would be a good person to take. But having said all that, if you know that you have that ability to connect to compassion and deal with anything, if you've worked on yourself and on your state of spirit to that extent, then you will actually find this to be an amazing time where so much is illuminated and where so much comes to your higher understanding. And that in turn allows you to have that much more richer and deeper relationships with the people around you. Hello, fabulous Scorpio. It's a big, big week for you. Without a doubt, it's a big week for you. Saturn leaves your sign, and you should feel a shift in energy almost immediately, I would say. By the time we get you to the end of the week, there's already all this shifting energy for all of us. And this is especially true for you, especially becomes magnified for you. You are one of the chosen ones where you are likely to experience a greater shift. And so if you can connect with that understanding, you will see how your life is now trying to show you the rewards of what felt so heavy and felt like it needed your energy and felt like a responsibility since late 2012. You've actually proven a lot. You know, I do think that a lot of Scorpios out there have actually made huge strides forward, come to huge understandings of who they are in a very different way, based on experience, based on seeing that they actually are a lot more capable and more dedicated than maybe they had previously realized. So there's been lots of paying dues energy that's been happening for some Scorpios out there. And this week you're going to start to glimpse how it actually can pay off. And I do think that there are payoffs on offer now, especially the further and further you move into the week. If you're open to love, this can be a time of meeting somebody who just absolutely feels amazing, feels like the right inspiration. If you have children, you're having these amazing moments with your kids and realizing all the work that you did actually now benefits them as well. And if you are a person who is just a creative type and cares about your own creative ideas, this can be a time when you really see how having that structure and doing that work before can now lead you to some tremendous gains. Hello, fabulous Sagittarius. Well, this is it. This is the week when Saturn enters your sign. It's a very important time. It's a really big week. And it is a time when you will notice, you'll be one of those signs that really notice the shift in energy in the best possible sense. Now, as I spoke about at length in your Saturn special, I would encourage you to watch that, because to me, really, if I had to sum up that whole video, if you were like, you know, Nadiya, I'm really busy, it's the holiday season, what do you want? I would say, okay, just put it on your to-do list in your calendar, set up a reminder to watch it. However, I would also say to you, what it really comes down to is taking ownership for your happiness, realizing that you can have whatever kind of life you want to have, but you have got to own it. You have got to own the direction that you desire to go, and know that this is the moment that you do the work and you have faith that you will get where it is that you have to get. Do your best, surrender the rest is the lesson with Saturn for all of us. And for you, that really comes down to happiness, understanding who you are, and really understanding yourself as a much more self-possessed and empowered kind of person. Ultimately, Saturn is self-respect. That's going to be a huge part of what is coming up for you. Now, when I bring the focus to this week, when I focus in on this week, it is a strong financial week for you, as I spoke about in your monthly horoscope for the month of December. Strong financial week for you. Lots of progress on offer, lots to be gained as well. And so it is going to be up to you to sort of decide where it is that you want to make that push. Now, I also want to say here that it does look like, whether you want to call it, it's very interesting because sometimes in some places, in some situations, people are like sort of gathered in a big group and everybody's giving gifts to everybody else, and invariably there ends up being, well, who's giving the better gifts, right? Who spent more? Who thought more about it? This happens in some places, and I gotta say, you may feel some of that. You might end up feeling, whether it's pressure, whether it's you're feeling like there's some eyes on you, you might be feeling a little bit like, okay, what am I expected to give? And how do I go about doing it? And so it's going to be up to you to find that right balance. As I said, if you give from a place, if you spend from a place of abundance and that you have so much, the universe returns that many, many times over. But it's when you feel that you don't really have enough and you're not really sure and you hope it pays off, that's not very good energy when you're giving. You want to give from absolute abundance, because that's how the universe is able to return that to you with your emotions. So be honest with yourself. Can you give from that place? Because ultimately it's not about what you give and it's not about what you're spending. Now, I know we all say that, but I just want you to be mindful that it's you that needs to connect with that belief now. You need to connect with that belief and allow that to inform what it is that you most desire to do. I do think that some Sagittarius out there, this may end up being a moment of their lives when they make a connection, actually. Of course, it's just sort of a momentary connection, but it's part of a bigger picture of your happiness. But there's a connection for some people out there, and actually a lot of people out there, having a certain amount of prosperity connected to their happiness. And if you make that kind of connection, at the same time, a pathway is going to be shown to you how you can move yourself in a direction that you deem positive. Allow that to be revealed, and ultimately you will find that if you pursue that path, it's not really about the prosperity. It is about how you feel about yourself and the value of what you're giving, and living a life that allows you to experience greater happiness more of the time. Hello, fabulous Capricorn. There's a new moon in your sign. I spoke about this at length in the monthly horoscope. Really important time for you. It is your unique new year, and it's big and it's important. I do think that this is going to represent a time of growth, of change, of honesty, of understanding what needs to begin again, what direction it is that you desire to go, what it is that you are meant to do. And I think that there is something to be said for this energy and your deeper understanding of who it is that you really are, what it is that you really desire to be and express now and in the world. I gotta say, you are certainly one of the people, in addition to having, being favored because you've got this new moon in your sign. What's also happening is you've got Pluto meeting Mercury. So a couple of ways to look at this. If you connect with source and love, you will see the truth of any situation. If you don't do that, you will see things from a skewed perspective based on your own stuff, your own wounds, the things that you've been through, not necessarily seeing things as accurately. Now, you may after the fact, okay, but in the moment, you are certainly one of the signs who's likely to be experiencing some really strong thoughts, strong reactions as well. So be kind, be patient, be patient, be patient, and also really consciously connect with an energy that is more loving. The universe is going to ask you to begin again, and so you have to trust that that message will reveal itself, where it is exactly you need to begin again, where it is that you desire to plant seeds, where it is that you need to get in touch with an understanding of who you are and what you really want. And from that space, and beginning from that space, then you will see with absolute eyes of love. And I do believe that you will find it to be an absolutely transformative experience. Hello, fabulous Aquarius. Well, this week your ruling planet Uranus goes direct. Your ancient ruling planet changes signs, moves into a part of the sky that is your home, if you will, that is your house in the sky. And so we've got these different movements taking place, and I do think that this speaks so strongly to you changing, you moving forward, you understanding that it's a different landscape, it's a different day, it's a different time, and you are ready to go in another direction, and that direction is forward. Wherever it is that you haven't been honest with yourself, you won't be able to get away with that now. You are going to have to be really honest with you. Wherever it is that you have felt held back from a really honest expression of who you are, where you've been playing a role, where you've been complacent, there's not going to be lots of that this week. Far from it. I don't think that you'll be able to continue any kind of facade. It's very much, I gotta be me, I'm gonna be me, and this is what that means, and this is who I am. That kind of energy. Now, I do remember Jeff Green. If you're an astrology student, of course, I mean, just about every person who studies Western astrology comes across the books of Jeff Green. Very transformative writer. He's written a really seminal book on Pluto, the evolutionary journey of the soul. That's one of his more famous books. But he also has another smaller book on Uranus. And in this book, he talks about how the real act of rebellion, like a lot of times people access this Uranian energy and they get caught up in false forms of independence. They want to show the world that they don't care, that they're so independent, that they're so unique. And so they do all these things to demonstrate that. And that's because they're actually afraid of what he called true independence, true rebellion is. And to him, it meant trusting your heart and living true to that voice within. And it is an act of rebellion because so few people do it. That's a big part of your sacred learning in this lifetime. As an Aquarian, that's a big part of what you're here to understand, is to fully embody that true spirit of rebellion, a true understanding that all that really matters to be a true rebel in this world is to listen to your heart and live according to that voice. It's when you get caught up in these false forms that you know something's off. So this is a huge part of your learning, and this is actually a huge lesson that is going to come up for you now this week. Now, it is only your intention that's going to determine which one you desire to manifest. And I do believe that if you're attracted to my horoscopes, then chances are you are interested in choosing a life of greater intention and choosing a life of greater consciousness as well. And in that case, I do think you'll find this week to be absolutely liberating. Hello, fabulous Pisces. Well, this week we have Neptune in your sign speaking with the sun. This to me suggests that even though there's all kinds of adventurous stuff happening in the sky, at the same time, there's a tremendous promise that you understand what you need to bring the best of you forward and are able to do it. You're able to see the love and the wisdom and the source permeating everyone and everything. And this is certainly the time. This is a good time of year when things like compassion and generosity are really emphasized. And so if you consciously choose, and even if you're not so inclined to consciously choose, I do think that life is going to provide you with the inspiration to make that choice, to reach for inspiration and to reach for compassion as well. That is when you are at your very best. It isn't necessarily something that's going to come so easily to you. It does look like there might be a tough conversation with a friend this week as possible. However, it's actually part of a continued energy that's been there for a little while as all these planets have been passing over Pluto, speaking with Uranus. So I've been talking to you all this time about this, and this may be part of your learning right now. But even with all that, it looks like this week there's a deep understanding that takes place for you, a deep understanding on a level of spirit as to who you are and what really matters to you. It's an illumination of where your keys are, what keys you need to open whatever door you desire, to open that door that leads to you and your happiness. So it's going to be up to you to identify the key, first of all, and then to actually do the work to open that door. But I do believe that you will be motivated. And I do believe that you do have the bravery and the brazenness to actually take those steps. And I do believe also that by the time we get you to the end of the week, you certainly are going to feel very elevated above anything that might have been troubling to you or anyone else. And instead, you can see the wisdom, you can see the love, and that allows you to move your life in a very good direction as you prepare to start a new year. Well, thank you so much to all signs out there. It'll be a great week. Enjoy. And again, a very, very happy holiday season to everyone out there.